Hi, it's Trevor Cutmore here. Now this is the third talk of a series of 4 on 12 points on mindset. So I've done points 1 to 3 and then 4 to 6, and these are points 7 through to 9. So to start off, look, mindset is one of the strongest things I think that you've got to have in any business. But when I came into property investment, I can tell you that when I first heard a talk on mindset, I really didn't want to know. I wanted to know about the mechanics of buying, of negotiation, of how to recognize a great deal from a bad deal, how to recognize when a property is a great opportunity, and when to run away from a property, more importantly. And that was that. I mean, it is very important, and you can grow that knowledge fairly quickly. But what is clear in property investment and in many businesses is the journey in your mind, disappointment, and managing to pick yourself up and go again and again and again. Now, many businessmen have been interviewed for many years, and they've been asked to write down the secret of success in a book, then in an A4, then in a paragraph, in a sentence, and finally in a word. And many of them come down to one word, and they say success is associated with persistence. And it is so true. But persistence is a really interesting one, because when you get knocked back and you get no's, especially when in property you're viewing properties, you make offers, you think you're nearly there, you've got maybe a joint venture and it's nearly there and it breaks up, or you've got somebody who's going to pay you some money because you brokered a deal, and the last minute it just goes, it falls out of bed. That is a typical thing that can happen. But the point is, what do you do? I've seen people who go through and view a few properties, they get no, then they turn around and do you know what they say? They say it doesn't work. Well, it's funny because there's other people behind them or in front of them who are doing it. So the argument that it doesn't work actually comes back to a former point of mindset, is no excuses ever. So it does work. You've got to learn how to do it better, and remember, every no and every refusal, you should be learning something from it. So like I said, I've completed 6 points which you can watch on my channel. I'm going to do points 7 through to 9. So look, point 7 is listen more. Now this is a mindset, this really is a mindset point, because we tend to find ourselves in a very unique place, and this is who I am, and this is how I am with people, and I'm like that with people. They take it or leave it, and sometimes we can be very overpowering, especially when we've just learned something. So we might have been on a training course or read a book or listened or watched a YouTube video, and then we want to go and, especially when we're negotiating or trying to build rapport, and we take something, and then what we tend to do, it's just human nature, is we try to deliver something that we learned, especially if you've been on a 2 or 3 day course and you think, oh, I can do this particular strategy, is instead of just relaxing and asking very closed questions or open questions so you can get the other person speaking. That's a really good way, so you can develop some rapport and sometimes get away from trying to negotiate. I know that's always people's goal, but just build rapport. Remember, people buy because they know, like and trust you, always. So by listening more, it's a very powerful strategy that will hold you well. Now, if many of you know me, when you get there, I will chat. People, I ask me a lot of questions. I tell you about a lot of my life story, and some very funny stories, some very tragic stories where I've been successful and I haven't been successful. Quite of them are quite funny, because I make it that way. That's an important part, and that will come down a little bit later, the reason why. But with listening more, there's some really good tips I can give you. There's some proverbs. The first one is be quick to listen and slow to speak. I cannot give you a better one than that. I think that is number one, because instead of just boom, 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 allow that person, especially if you're in negotiation, you want to buy that house, you want to do that deal, you want them to buy from you, whoever, whatever it is, just listen more. because that way you will understand what their needs are. I see this so many times that people will, let's say a sourcer, well look, so I've got this 4-bedroom house, I've got this 2-bedroom house here, I've got these flats here, which one do you want? Instead of reversing it round and saying, listen, can you tell me what you want? And when I find it, I'll contact you. And that's simple. You haven't wasted your breath. Listen more, ask the right questions, and then you can start to match and to drill in a little bit deeper with that person. It's so much better than just trying to waffle on and fill the time with your voice and to fill it with noise. People are scared of silence in a conversation, especially in negotiation, but it is singly one of the most important tips and skills, but it does take a bit of time to master that. But practice with your friends. People hate it because what they do is that they fill that air, that silence, with something else. And just test it. I promise you, if you ask a question, allow that next person to finish their answer and don't say anything. You watch, within not even 2 seconds, they will go again. They will give you something else. And if you are silent again, they will go again. Watch it, test it, you'll see what I'm talking about. And this is because it's in your mind to control. And when you have control, you're going to have more success in anything and everything you do. Now, the second proverb I really like, and I think it was written for me, and that is, even a fool is thought to be wise if he keeps his mouth shut. I love that. Even a fool is thought to be wise if he keeps his mouth shut. I think that was written for me, I really do. Because, look, we all are excited about, especially when we come into property, what we can do and everything, and there's a time to talk and there's a time not to talk. But in negotiations, in the middle of that business transaction, whatever you're doing, in the middle of a sale, don't over talk. Listen. And when you listen, you can take what they want and then you can fulfill that need. You can use that need to negotiate more powerfully. But if you talk too much, you'll lose the deal. And that is a battle of your mind to come down. Be more precise. Ask the right question. That is a topic in itself. Asking the right question. So many people miss that. They really do. When we learn more about anything, and a lot of people, I meet lots of people and they've learned, and they say, oh, I've just been on this course, and blah, blah, blah. And 15 minutes later they're still going, especially if they're on the phone. They want to give you this knowledge in the speed of a tornado and drown you, and you could almost see a hairdryer. I have a picture on one of my slides I use with a lady with a megaphone trying to talk to someone, and the hair is coming out like this, and that's something that we don't want. All right, so please take it from me, this is a great opportunity to learn. Listen more. Remember, be quick to listen and slow to speak. So point number 8 is to celebrate. What is that to do with anything in mindset? Do you know something? These next 2 points are probably my favourite. To celebrate. It's so important. Do you know, I'm going to tell you a story, a couple of stories actually. But look, I look to celebrate not just in my life, but for other people. I want to celebrate for what they've achieved and what they've done. And if I can help them on that journey, I think that is an absolute privilege in life. There's many things that I do, but I look for opportunity to celebrate or help other people. I want to give you a downside and show you what I mean. I worked for 25 years in a restaurant as a chef, okay, in quite a few restaurants in Knightsbridge, in Mayfair, so good ones, and out in Italy. Now I worked with a gentleman, a Colombian guy. He wasn't a chef, he was what we call a black jacket, like a manager in the restaurant. And he was an English teacher back in Colombia. He had his wife and his daughter out there. I won't say his name, but he was a very good friend of mine. And the thing is, he was one of the most miserable people that you could ever meet. And I used to say to him, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why don't you enjoy life and just celebrate and be happy? No, I am going to buy 5 houses in 20 years in my country, over the next 20 years working in England, I'm going to save my money, buy 5 houses in Colombia, then I will go home, I don't have to work, I'll have a fantastic life with my wife and my daughter. He saw his wife and daughter once a year. He, as I said, one of the most miserable guys. He had 4 houses, after something like 18 years working together, he had 4 houses that he bought in Colombia. So he only had about another 2 years. He was on target. He was a very diligent man, but a very miserable person. He wouldn't celebrate anything. Honestly, I promise you, he was really, almost a depressive. And 4 houses, 18 years. This is going back a few years now. Excuse me. And there was a landslide in Colombia where his houses were. Something like 10,000 people died. All of his 4 houses collapsed. No insurance whatsoever. So 18 years had passed. He lost everything. For the next year and a half, he was working with us in Knightsbridge, and he got caught stealing money. And so he was trying to steal, and he was stealing from the other guys. What happens, all the tips of the waiters go into what's called a trunk, and then that's shared out according to the points. So the manager gets so many percentage, the blackjackers get so much, and the waiters and the commie waiters. And he was caught stealing, I believe it was around about £150 a day. And the management and the waiters got hold of him and said, look, walk out that door or we're going to call the police. And, he wouldn't be in a good state by then. But what's my point? My point here is that many times I asked him, look, enjoy life, celebrate, what you've done, you're growing, you've gone from waiter to black jacket, it's something to be very proud of and to celebrate. No. Now, that's a very sad story. I'm going to tell you another little story. I had the privilege of helping at a school for about 15 years. I used to do PE on my day off. I did about half a day. And it was a privilege. And I used to do lots of sports with them. But I remember this one girl. She was a teenager. She was very slow in her physique. She wasn't a strong athlete, whatever, at all. But she was full of diligence. And what I mean is, when I said to people, when we were warming up, I want you to do 10 squats. She was always the last, but she always did 10. When the teams were picked for running, to do some relay or running as a team or whatever, nobody wanted her. All right, she would always be the last and the slowest. But at the end of the year, I had the honour of picking the sports person of the year, and this particular year I gave it to her. Why? Because when I presented it and I was talking about her, I said, listen, this person who's got it, if everyone put in as much effort and diligence in a work ethic as this young person does, you would achieve so much more. So the gifted ones that, do 10, look, I've done 10, let's get on with it sort of thing. Now, I gave her that award. Her parents have never stopped thanking me. Honestly, I don't see them now, but they never stopped thanking me. It changed that girl's life. She went off to university. She did really, really well, very successful life. But it changed her life. Why? Because I chose to celebrate something which was other people weren't looking at, but diligence and the way that she honoured me in the way that she did everything that I asked. That was another opportunity for me to look to celebrate. Now look, Oprah Winfrey, she said, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. I love that. I love it. And that is true. Now listen, I know stuff goes on. I know it. I know that we all struggle with things, whatever it is, finance, family, friends, life, illness, death. I know. I got it. But, every day is a challenge for all of us. When my father died, for 8 days, I was an absolute wreck. I was destroyed. But I can tell you, on the 8th day, something changed. And I started to celebrate that I was so fortunate to have my father, who was a wonderful man. So there is opportunity to celebrate in every area of our life. And it does so much for our head, our minds, our mindset. It does. you know, many people won't know that my wife is now 4.5 years clear of cancer. But on the day that she was, we'd had all the tests, it was pretty much suspected and everything, and they saw this tumour and they had to do a biopsy and everything on it. And I was driving down to Cardiff Pin meeting, to a property meet to speak, and Marie phoned me up and she said, I've just had the consultant on the phone, it's confirmed it's cancer. And we both burst into tears. It was just horrendous. I got down to Cardiff, I saw the pin host, and I said, look, this has just happened. And he said, Trevor, do you want to go home? I said, no, I'll do it. I sorted myself out. And again, purely because I work on my mind, I separated it off, I delivered. No one had a clue. I was my normal funny self and delivered good content, strong information for people. And then I left. I got back in the car, tears again, and got on the phone, how are we going to do it? And we got there. We did. We absolutely won it in the mind. It's interesting. There's a doctor who I met recently, Simi. He's a cancer doctor. And I said to him what we did with Marie, with her mind, because I did tell the consultant, please don't say it's Marie's cancer, it's not hers. It is cancer. It doesn't have a right to be on her body. It's temporary and it's going. That really helped Marie. It helped us. When I spoke to the doctor about that, he said, Trevor, I said, what percentage of people does that make a difference to? He says, Trevor, 100%. 100%. He sent me an email confirming that, which I'm putting into my book, which is on the way. It's coming. Only a few more months to go, but it is coming, my new book. Watch out for that. So look, guys, look for the opportunity to celebrate, okay? It can be for the smallest things. It can be for our children, for our friends. Celebrate, you know. Give them a small gift. Whether it's a Mars bar, I said, that was brilliant. Listen, I bought you a gift because I want to celebrate with you. You've done really well. But celebrate. The more you celebrate things in other people's lives, in your life, you're going to see more. And it makes a huge difference, because when you can start to, especially compliment people. I found that one of the most hardest things was to compliment my wife. I found that a real obstacle. And I still don't get it right all the time, but I am focused and I understand to do that. I don't want this video to go on too long, but look, I have a very good friend, Jackie, and I was talking to her recently, and I know I was a little bit annoyed with my wife. Okay, I'm bearing my heart here, guys, all right? And I said to Jackie, and I told her the situation, and Jackie said, look, Trevor, I think you need to see it this way. And I said, absolutely. I came out of there, I phoned my wife, and I apologised. I said, Marie, my attitude was wrong, I'm sorry. But you see, we can celebrate that, because I got something wrong, and we can celebrate that I learned, and we celebrate that I've got a friend who can talk the truth to me. I love that, and I'm in a very privileged position to have that. So again, allow only certain people to speak into your life, who can correct you, and be humble enough to change, and then celebrate that change. All right. Last point for this session, point 9. You're going to like this one, I think. All right. It is laugh. You must laugh. All right. There's a scripture that says laughter is as good as medicine. That is true. It is founded by the medical society. When we laugh, we release endorphins into our body, and we have a much better feeling. So if we can learn to laugh, we can make a difference. We can change so many things. I look for opportunities to laugh. If many of you see me on stage, you'll see that I'm always have a little bit of humour. I have to. I tell some jokes. Sometimes my jokes aren't even funny, but that ends up quite funny. So look, many of you know that I love my golf. I do. I'm addicted to golf. But today I went out this morning. I played some golf, and there's a guy playing off 1. That's almost professional, okay? And he was ahead of us. He's hit this ball, and then he has thrown his club, and it's gone, into the bushes. Why? Well, we're all going to be faced with disappointment, whether we hit a bad shot or not. But you've got 2 ways of coping with it. Laugh and release some endorphins, or get more tense, more stressed, more tight, and guess what? His next shot was rubbish as well. So it's important to laugh. What's my mechanism? My mechanism is a lot of jokes. I mess around quite a bit. I'm a serious person when it comes to business, obviously, but when I look for opportunity, I look for opportunity always. Now, I actually have a list of jokes on my phone, which anytime I will use, I will talk to, depending where I am. Some of those I'm not going to tell you what they are. Most of them. Some of them, they're a little bit innuendo, a little bit not really crude or anything, but a little bit on the edge, shall we say. But I like them, and they make me laugh. I'll only share those in certain circumstances. But look, I'll give you one. The local planning officer, goes down to visit a farmer who's put in for planning permission to build some houses. So the planning officer comes down and he looks at the farmer's land. He said, "Oh, listen, I'm going to have a walk around, and I'm the planning officer." So he said, "Look, okay, have a walk around, but do not go in that field." And the planning officer says, "Excuse me," he says, "you cannot tell me where to go. I'm here on official business. This is my badge, and I can go anywhere I want, and I can do what I want because I'm here under official capacity to check out planning to see if we're going to grant it." The farmer says, "All right." So farmer goes off doing his stuff. All of a sudden, he hears this planning officer screaming at the top of his voice. And the farmer goes off to the edge of the field, and sure enough, there's this planning officer, papers going everywhere, running back. And the farmer says, "Run fast, run fast." And it's a huge bull is chasing after him. And the planning officer says, I'm not going to make it. And the farmer says, show him your badge. But obviously, look, things like that make me laugh. They do. So anything that you can find, find jokes, whether they're kids' jokes, find something to laugh about, and it does refresh your mind. Do not carry stress around. You need to dump it as fast as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, stress I think is quite a good thing if you use it right. In golf, I might concentrate. I want more. I like to play a harder game, and it concentrates my mind. So when I was chefing, I was cooking for all the rich and famous, and we're cooking 50, 60, 70 a la carte meals in one go, and I need to be on it, and I like that pressure, so I like standards. And stress is not an enemy, you just need to know how to control it. When it's an enemy is when it's out of control, and when it's out of control, laughter is a great tool to release that pressure. It's like a steam cooker. Let that steam go. Okay, listen guys, I could go on, and this is quite a longer video than I wanted. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm not sure who I've got coming to speak next week on the thing, and then in 2 weeks from today I will do the last of the series of 4 on mindset. So I will be doing from 10 to 12. Don't miss those. They're really good. I've had some good comments about people enjoying these videos. So again, please leave any comments, especially if you want me to discuss or even teach a little bit on a certain strategy. I think you can tell me and I would do it. Okay, I've had some great success this week with some businesses. I will tell you about that another time. Some really exciting stuff going on. Like I said, I opened a new business that's already with clients that looks absolutely superb, and just about to sign some papers for some joint venture with someone, which again will come out very soon all over YouTube and Facebook. Listen, I want to wish you a wonderful time this next week. I hope you take these points. I hope that you will start to listen more, that you will celebrate your journey and laugh at every opportunity, and bring laughter to other people, more importantly. All right, listen, God bless you. I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.